Hello guys, today we are jumping straight into the door. As you guys can see, this is my latest remix of San Holo's Honest track, and I'm going to teach you guys how to make really big Supersaw stacks like in this track. If you guys haven't heard, go check this track out on my YouTube channel. I can't play it here because I don't want too many copyright strikes on my channel, but this is what the drop sounds without the main vocals. I have muted most of the stems, but we are going to play the build up and the drop. So pretty simple future-based drop. Of course we have the fill vocals and then we have pre-drop vocals over here. Here's the Supersaw stack by itself. Pretty thick, I would say, and basically what is going on, we have the Supersaw and the bass, and the Supersaw layer consists of few instances of synths, but the basic one is just really simple Supersaw. This is actually from Virtual Riot's preset pack, but I don't think you guys really need that. The first layer is pretty simple. Just add a lot of voices to your saw waves and have a lot of detune. I don't really have any effects on the individual parts of the Supersaw, so don't mind with anything else. Just have pretty simple pure sounds. Like in this patch it's actually just a stripped down, and the effects that I have come from the effect channel, not from the patch itself. There's a little bit hard clip that's just compressing and a little bit of EQ, but basically it's just really detuned Supersaw. That's the base layer, so without anything else it sounds like this. And what we have on the chords is basic triad and bass note. So this is E major, and what I did, I took the middle note, so I broke the triad and moved it up an octave, so we get this instead of this. So we spread the voices a little bit. And the next, we skip this layer and we go straight to this. This one works as a kinda lower octave synth. It sounds like this, and with Supersaw. You can't really notice it very well, but it adds a little bit thickness to the mid frequencies and the lower end. Then we have this kind of lead sound. It sounds really weird and it's on really low volume, but if I play it with the elements that we have now, this is without, this is with. You can't really hear it. It adds this kind. kinda high-pitched, consistent tone. That way the chords sound a little bit more unison. So we have this. Then I have the top layer. And this is kinda the lead of this Supersaw stack. I have separate lead, but this kinda gives the melody or the tone change to the Supersaw, and what it sounds like with itself is this, and with the other elements it's giving that high sparkle. And at the end I have the white noise. It's just really simple white noise, you can use whatever, but I have high passed it pretty steeply at around 9k. There's a little bit mid frequencies, but it's pretty much only on the high end, and with that it sounds like this. Without with. You can barely hear it, but compression and limiting on this track kind of brings it up. And big tip about Supersaws is to take out the high end from pretty much every synth. So if you look at the main kind of virtual Riot Supersaw, I have cut out the very high end from the synth. Also on the second one there's no high end. No high end. This one has a little bit high end because it's meant to be on the top, but I have also cut the high end on that one. But the only high end, really high end, above the 10k or 10 to 12k is from the white noise. And that way, when you have a lot of different synths, especially Supersaws, which are creating these really cluttered, noisy, high-end tones, you can keep your high-end a little bit more unified, and maybe you can even like mono your high-end, so you pull this. If you have headphones you can probably hear that, but you can keep your high-end very stable, otherwise it would be really cluttered. And when looking at the spectrum, even though we have cut a lot of high-end from the synths, it's still very high-end heavy. So if we take out the white noise, you can see it adds this very high end. Let me change the grid like this. And that's really important part of the Supersaws, because the ear is pretty much the kind of main thing on the sound. And even though Supersaws sound like they have a lot of high end and midtones, you kind of want to keep them tamed on the top frequencies, because if we play the whole track, this, still want to keep that balance between low end and the high end. If I wouldn't cut any of the high end tones, I would have really high peak over here, and you can't really push track like that or even play it out loud volumes because it will really pierce your ears. So to simplify the process, this is the spectrum over here. The main Supersaw sound should be here in the middle tones, like over here. Then we cut the high end over here and add a white noise layer to the top frequencies. So this is only white noise and maybe a little bit of the other sounds at like 10k or 9k. At the bottom we want to have really big sub bass, because if we listen to the sound and without the sub bass, and you need really good headphones or speakers to be able to hear that, but it's a massive part of the sound. Same with the bass. So over here we want to have the sub bass, and here we have the mid bass, and the middle frequencies we kind of fill up with the different kind of synths. And I'm not going to in great detail about which synths to use over here. We can do another video about that, but it's really artistic preference. I would use one simple big Supersaw sound which kind of fills the sound from top to bottom, and then have kind of different tones in between. Like this could be really detuned sound, and here we could have the bass synth like in our track, and maybe we would have a really high pitched tone somewhere here. So that way we fill out the whole spectrum of our sound with different elements. And I like to cut the low end a little bit, like you can see on my spectrum. I don't have too much going on the 300 and on the low mids, but the bass and the high end are really the peaking parts, and that kind of creates this separation between your high end and low end. Some guys like to fill the lower end too, but that's really artistic preference, and it just depends on a lot of things what you want to achieve. Like some of the Matias tunes have really stable filled out spectrum from top to bottom, and some of the dubstep tunes have this drop over here on the low mids. But yeah, that's pretty much all about this tutorial. I can go a little bit more in depth on the effects on another tutorial. It's not the most important part, and there's a completely different video to be made on the mixing part of the Supersaws. Like this sound without any effects would sound like this. Here's the spectrum, and without tweaks it sounds like so. As you guys can see, there's a lot of high end and a lot of rumble on the low mids, which we have taken out on the finished tune. So that's pretty much the main theme of this video. I hope this helps you guys to build the Supersaws. Maybe on another video we could do a proper from start to finish Supersaw, and you guys would see the process. But I hope this helps out some of you guys, and I see you guys on the next video. See you.
Wait for me, I'm not far behind.